Hi, hello. Welcome to this stream, the Chill Drawing Desk RPG Papercraft stream. My name's Connor. I'm here in Pittsburgh. I have a company called Pittsburgh Papercraft, and I make papercraft for role-playing games and for other purposes. Um, Here's an example of one such worksheet, which we might get to a little later. But right now, I'm just going to draw some stuff. Because this is a stream where I draw things and you guys hang out and watch me draw stuff and maybe work on your own stuff while I'm working on this. So this is just some warm-up just to get the ink flowing and the kind of mental ink flowing. I just watched the second Fantastic Beasts movie, which I can't really recommend. I realized about halfway through that I had seen the entire thing on a plane with the sound off, just subtitles, and I had totally forgotten what the movie was about, even though I had watched it. And I didn't, not until halfway through watching it yesterday did I realize, oh, I've seen this before. It was so forgettable that I had no idea what was going to happen next. I think until about 4 seconds before it happened, and then I had this kind of gut feeling of, oh, wait, I think I remember. There's some sort of narrative beat that is happening right. Oh, she died. Yeah, because of course the kind of like troubled woman is the sacrificial lamb of the second movie. She finally was able to reveal who she was loyal to, and her last act of loyalty was to die in their place. Spoilers. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I guess that's like a bunch of spoilers for. Well, it really wasn't very good, so like, don't at me. I'm not even sure what social media you might at me on. I guess Instagram, Connor SB on Instagram. You could write me an angry email. I'm saying don't do any of these things. This is all to say that I've got that cool Chinese kind of lion dragon on my mind, so I'm thinking about that creature while I draw this other creature. The factory floor is a product that is all about exploring an environment that salamanders and small lizards have built for themselves. So there's kind of a reptile theme to the whole thing because of that. And so one thing I like to do is remember other kinds of creatures, or even kind of take a look at still images, reference photos of them, but then redraw them as the lizardy version of them. And right about here, you might begin to recognize where I'm going with this. This warm-up sketch. Oh, my hand got much looser here. I apologize for this. Oh no, it's just got a bigger head. But you may recognize, rather than the mane of a lion on this creature, we have the frills of either Oh, there's a kind of water-running lizard that's maybe a monitor, or a basilisk, uh, that has these neck frills, but there's also the Jurassic Park dinosaur, whose name is not coming to mind. Dennis Nedry. They took out Dennis. Poor Dennis. Well, not so poor. He was, after all, a corporate spy, and that was basically doom in a Crichton novel. Crichton was a strange guy. He had a real kind of fascination with corporations, especially corporations that had government contracts and were doing kind of large-scale government projects. And like the inherent risk of kind of humans doing big science, which feels to me like a very atomic age fear. His first book, The Andromeda Strain, is really relevant to what is currently going on. It is about a viral agent that, well, I forget if it's viral, but some sort of foreign agent, biological agent, that a satellite that falls from orbit goes through the upper stratosphere and catches this thing as it falls down, and then some human gets exposed to it, and then it just starts killing lots of people. And I think because the probe was named Andromeda, this is the Andromeda strain of this virus that had been something that humans dealt with and then evolved up in the high atmosphere without a human host, and then came back, which is not the total story of our current situation, but has some real analogies. He wrote that really early on in his career, and then and that was about kind of a government science effort. And after that, I mean, especially during the 80s, his books were pretty intensely about corporations and about bizarre corporate behavior. Alright, I'm starting to kind of overshade this, which means it's time for me to stop. Let me show you guys kind of a close-up of that. I don't know if that improves the drawing at all, but yeah. What I loved in the movie was that this lion had this tail that was very much like the kind of fabric that these lion tails are made out of when they're festival puppets, when they're festival puppets that have kind of dance performers inhabiting them, and kind of a magical creature, sort of wispy hair-like nature to this long tail. A little bit like an orchid, or like a very long mane that was sort of weaved together into a translucent plane. But it was very compelling, and it was very cool and beautiful. And the fact that it was attached to a big set of teeth was totally terrifying. Anyway, so here's that warm-up. This is kind of a Chinese lion dragon crossed with a frilled osaur. We call that a frillosaur. That's neither of these things are accurate. I'm gonna go ahead and just Google what those things are. Philly dinosaur, Jurassic Park. Dilophosaurus. Dilophosaurus. Dilophosaurus wetherilli. The genus name means two-crested lizard. The species name honors John Wetherill, Navajo counselor. Cool. And that is spelled D-I-L, dilo, so di is 2, and then lopho must be crests, and then saurus, lizard, 2 crest lizard, of the house of weather, W-E-T-H-E-R-I-L-L-I, of the house of Wetherill. This is the proper name, weather, W-E-T-H-E-R, Wetherill, with kind of like a little Latin I at the end, wetherilli. Chinese lion dragon, what is that? I'll Google this too. Right. It is the Zouyu. Or Zouyu. Is a righteous animal which, similarly described to a quillin, only appears during the rule of a benevolent and sincere monarch. It is said to be fierce-looking as a tiger, but gentle and strictly vegetarian, as described in some books, as a white tiger with black spots. So this is Zouyu. Or Zouyu, depending on romanization. I'm not going to try to write simplified or traditional Chinese characters. I'm not that skilled. All right, so that's a good warm-up. A little bit of history there. Now, draw. I have this civet cat going on. Oh, got some ferns later, but this is a pretty low-res image of a civet cat that I've been meaning to draw. So let me go ahead and do that. There's a video from this last week of a small Indian civet sort of walking around this city street in India. And it's in the middle of the day, and some of the comments say, like, oh, that ain't right, this thing's probably rabid. And that might be true. It might be, I'm giving this guy giant salamander eyes, and I'm not quite sure why I made that choice, but I did. Just did it. So, there we go. Wow, it sure is kind of cute, though. Anyway, they thought that it might have rabies, but it certainly is rare to see those guys in the city at all, and the sort of speculation was that, well, the sensationalist headline was that humans had, abandoned the earth, and nature was reasserting itself in the form of this cat. And the first headline that I saw this about kind of misidentified the cat as being super rare. And civets are not technically cats. Calling them a civet cat is a convenience. They're kind of cat-shaped, but they're not felines. But they are kind of small, predatory carnivores, and, with the absence of industrial activity and people gathering in big numbers in cities. There's a video of one of these guys just kind of trotting around. I really like. They have a strange shape to them. Cats have a strange shape. Feline cats have a strange shape to them. But civet cats do too. They have this. I think I did that backwards. I did do that backwards. They have a kind of hump to their back, which I have not properly captured here. Yeah, that looks a little weird, but it's okay. This is the part of the civet that is mostly in shadow, so. Hide a lot of those trace lines just by filling them in, and this is also the part of the civet that is totally black, so the fur, I mean, so filling it in dark covers all sorts of sins. I guess this is a good example, not necessarily of a Bob Ross style, I have wide boys for this. I have pens that I reserve that are the nib. I don't know if you can see the little plastic nib there. I don't know if it'll focus. I have no control over this focus, which now I understand why folks are constantly saying, like, oh god, focus. Hey, there we go. Yeah, so this nib is really all widened out. It's a plastic nib, and I really like these, and they withstand the fact that my hand is a pretty heavy hand. But kind of bearing down on the plastic, as I do, invariably tends to kind of warp it and blow it out, and then whatever sort of small pinhole this ink typically comes out of gets bent out of shape and becomes some kind of crazy oval, and then there's no coming back from that. So Just have to let that bad boy go. Let that bad boy go into this other category that I'm calling wide boys. Is an affectionate term. I have a belly, kind of an off-screen belly myself, so I feel like I can take back the night on wide boys. It's also got a wide bore, which I think is a clever kind of pun, or sort of adjacency, word adjacency. And as a group, they are these wide boys, and what has made them wide boys is that they've become wide bore. That's the joke. Cool. And I think that the rest of the tail is black. This coloration is making me imagine that civets might have a kind of maturation process that's similar to dogs. In dogs and wolves, in canids, as they get more adrenaline through their lives, and testosterone, or no, not testosterone, I think just adrenaline, and as their adrenal glands work, they get traits that are more and more adult and wolf-like. And so one of the things that's happened with dogs is that we have gone for breeding dogs that have less aggression, and in doing so we've bred out some amount of the look of a wolf from dogs, because they just don't get the kind of hormone load that they used to, that would cause really wolf-like traits, and so instead you get what's called neoteny, which is the retention of child traits that were previously associated with childhood in that species, an evolution where those traits are retained into adulthood. That is neoteny. And there are a couple different species that have become neotenous, and neoteny is also used as a term in regard to individuals within a species. There are some environmental circumstances that will cause some kinds of creatures to stay neotenous and never achieve an adult form. But that's speaking about two slightly different biological processes. And here I am, just kind of free drawing the civet cat. I've really left reality on the dot pattern here. Right now I'm almost establishing like a kind of a pastiche of a dot pattern. What? Oh, this was like the artificial rump that I just drew for this thing. Well, that, yeah. This is gonna be like an artist's interpretation of a civet. I think I've solidly left the bounds of the photograph, but no mind at all. Let's turn the music back up. This, I forgot to say, is from the Free Music Archive. This is by a band called PC3. That's the letter P, the letter C, and then the Roman numeral 3, I. The Soft Approach is the name of this particular track, but the album's Music for a Weary World Volume 1. that's what we got going on. It's page 22 of the ambient genre or subgenre on the Free Music Archive at freemusicarchive.org. All right. Oh, yeah. Well, we're back to the CIVET cat here. Drawing these stripes is reminding me of Tiger King, which I watched over a week, this last week. The controversial Netflix documentary, which I think actually is kind of a documentary that some people worked on and then showed to Netflix and sold to them for like a big cash out. I think that it might have been. I can imagine a world where that we live in a world now where documentaries get made on the speculation that Netflix will pick them up if they're kind of interesting enough. Though I guess that's always been true, just not necessarily with Netflix. That's been true with all kinds of projects, since the dawn of civilization, we've been promising something at the end of the road. So this is no different. This is not a big difference at all. But wow, what a show! What a strange set of characters, and what a weird circumstance. It's the kind of documentary, and I thought of it very much in the context of the Fire Festival documentary, and it's a car crash that you don't want to stop looking at, and because it's on Netflix, you're not a rubbernecker, you're watching the car crash at your own pace in the comfort of your own home, which is a real win for how we live now in 2020, I guess. In any case, like the Fire Festival documentary, and like Wild Wild Country, the documentary about the Rajneesh group in Oregon that set up kind of a private city that they tried to sort of do a regulatory capture of their community so that they could have people not interfere with them running a big weird commune, which is what they were really, really hell-bent on doing. In that vein, Tiger King is a documentary about a whole bunch of different kinds of people who run a whole bunch of different kinds of interactions with large cats and other kind of exotic pets, which even calling them exotic pets is kind of a weird colonialist attitude. They are wildlife which we have decided to raise in captivity, or which someone started to raise in captivity and then kind of ditched, or unleashed on a small town, or any other. There's a lot of different stories. But they're also bred and, sort of milled as tiger cub petting operations, and Some of them are also saved, and what saved means is kind of put out to pasture in something like a zoo. They get, I guess, less human interaction than at the other things that are more explicitly zoos, and so it is restful for them, and they have an easy life until they go. But, well, that lady had an awful lot of tigers buried on her property, and they were given real burials and memorials, but why there were tigers in Florida in the first place leaves you to wonder about the larger society, and that our only real option is a private charity running kind of a tiger death clock, tiger death watch zoo. That's not charming either. So, if you want to watch a train wreck that leaves you feeling like humanity has some real strange people who are part of it, this is a wonderful show Tiger King is. And if that's not really your style, then it is not. You should just pretend you never even heard it. Don't at me if you think that it was morally reprehensible of me for watching it. I can understand how that's an opinion that could be formed, but I don't actually want to meet you if you've gone ahead and formed it. Just leave that one on the table. Okay, have I recovered this CIVET back to some kind of drawing health from whatever weird overstep I felt like I made at the beginning here with the legs? Yeah, I think I have. I think that this guy is looking pretty good. And he's very handsome, or she is very handsome. Beautiful. The photo is god-awful resolution. It's as blurry on my screen as it must be on your guys's. But it's beautiful. The creature's beautiful. I knew a cat once named Janis Joplin, like a small house pet named Janis Joplin. The cat, who was an absolute terror, and definitely seemed like a wild cat that could not be repressed by anyone, could not be held down. I guess true to her name, don't name your cat Janis Joplin and expect a stable cat, because this cat seemed, well, either troubled or strongly desiring the wild, in a call of the wild sort of way. And Janis Joplin the cat, had similar coloration to this. In house cats, it's usually called like a wild pattern or a wild hybrid pattern. And it's kind of like a tortoise shell sometimes, but then there are stripes. But in any case, what this pattern is also like is it is like the difference between wolves and wolf puppies, which is also the difference between wolves and dogs. What this pattern looks like if you were to kind of do a body plan of this creature. This is the nervous system and the circulatory system. And you can almost kind of see that as you fill in the vertebrae, the big loops of the circulatory system down and back up from each of these extremities, each of which kind of needs to stay warm compared to the body. You can kind of map this pattern onto this creature, right? These folds coming down in line with the neurology and in line with the blood work going through here, and in line with the skeletal structure as well. And so if you imagine the chemicals that sort of do coloration start in the brain and then move down through the nervous system and are spread through the body in that way, where if the small cells, which I feel like was, well, I forget how that was. It was either a chemical or a particular kind of cell that would migrate towards the extremities to create an adult rather than a juvenile. In any case, what I'm saying is these spots and dots, the pattern to this creature is, I believe, like dogs and like cats and like wolves, very much a bit about its own neurology and its own, the way that its blood travels, and that these patches kind of change over time, and that they are an expression of those things. That's just speculation. That's just what these patterns are making me think about. And I don't know if that might be bad science. That might be some fake news. Right, but this was a pretty successful civet. CIVET with an E. Who could know? What time is it? It's 4:36. Okay, I'm actually gonna go away from keyboard for about 5 minutes. I will be back. It's 4:36. Oh, it's 4:37. I will be back at 4:40. So hold on to your hats, folks. Maybe go get some water. Can I update this in real time? So that would be very cool. Well, no, whatever. Hey friends, I'm back. So, that was the civet cat. Let me look up exactly what kind of a creature a civet is. If it's got a particular class. This particular civet is the African civet, which is Civet tictus, civetta, civet, double T, not double E, civeticus, civetta. What's the fox one from Fantastic Mr. Fox? Well, the wolf is Canis lupus, and the fox is Vulpus vulpus. The red fox. Vulpus vulpus. He decries, or decrees. He cries. Vulpus vulpus. All right. What are we doing here? No, I did not. Hey, there we go. Cool. All right. So, let's throw these ferns up and let's color out some papercraft, guys. So this is the Trailside Platform. I made this last December, around Christmas time, which was good. Pittsburgh was a kind of a mellow winter. It's fun to put this together. This is part of the social distancing papercraft kit, which you can find on my website. It's connorsb.com, CONNOR, S as in Sierra, B as in Bravo, .com. If you click on the store, you'll see a $0 product, a free PDF. That includes this, as well as some other kind of barriers, distancing structures for your role-playing game environment. So these sort of loose white figures are tabs which are going to get folded under the different pieces of this. There's a school of papercraft that you create it so that it folds together without tape or without glue. And that's kind of related to origami. That's not quite what I wanted out of this. What I wanted out of this was for you to be able to assemble a whole bunch of them, because the hard truth of trying to model an industrial environment is that industrial environments create their scale by having dozens, sometimes hundreds of copies of the same architectural feature repeated across the whole facility. And so, if, for example, there's a kind of machine path that goes across the magical factory that you're constructing, that machine path is going to need to have like a little platform going alongside it, reinforced steel on the side, and stairs on either end to get you up. And you won't just need one of these platforms. These platform segments can become a whole piece of kind of the architecture of that space, which is, for factories, that's as important a consideration as kind of the twists and turns and traps that would be in a traditional fantasy dungeon. In a factory space, there's usually a mechanical or sort of material movement component to those traps. Machines that have gone haywire, or industrial process vats that are now being used to keep witnesses or kidnapped people kind of suspended over the vat of acid, the Killing Joke style. Well, one interpretation of the Killing Joke style, I don't even remember how much, I don't know how many times the Joker has lied about his creation, and I just don't care anymore about the authentic canonical Joker origin myth. That Batman won't kill him is just madness to me, because the dude has crossed a line into and that society hasn't just it's clear that he's not insane. He doesn't need to go to a mental institution. That's capital punishment. That dude's an existential threat to the planet, because he is remorseless and has crazy superpowers. So crazy super thought powers that are bad jokes. So yeah, I didn't know I had such vitriol for the Joker in me, but I guess I do. Anyway, I need to grab some tape. Hold on. This double-sided tape is how you know you've gotten too much into papercraft, because it's, just as much kind of quote-unquote cheating as regular tape is, except to apply it. It's awesome, because here, check out what you can do. I'm going to close this. Show it to you here. Right, you basically stick one side of the tape down, beard hair there, beard hair there. don't leave your tape out in the open, I guess. Right, so you basically create adhesive surfaces on the one side as one step that you do all the taping all at once. This is a little trick to shorten the tape up. You do all the taping all at once. There's a little bit more taping to do, though. It may get a little weird. But we'll see how that goes. I drink more coffee. I don't know if you know, you see, yeah, quite a lot of tape. It looks kind of coffin-like from here. Spooky. Okay, so we'll just start with one edge. Get this edge pretty nice. What I like about this is the paper at a small level is quite pliable, and stickiness of the tape is enough that you can kind of, you get a couple tries, you know, not like 4 tries, but certainly always 2. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of feeling almost with my fingers, right? And maybe that's because I have practice, but which surface is the next surface that is kind of next in line to get folded down and attached to the tape. And I'm just doing this almost, I guess, when this was open, clockwise around this edge, and just getting each tab connected up to each piece of glue I put down. And one thing that can kind of help you out here is either if you have kind of like a pair of letter openers, or in this case, some pliers or tweezers, thin tweezers, things that tweeze. So you can really nail that adhesive down. And this I know that this will be looked at from top down for the most part, and so this edge is very carefully on the inner side of that top. And here is where these tiny sort of thin pliers that I found got at like a Walgreens or something come in really handy, because you can get into these kind of tight spaces that you've created. And here, there's so many tabs coming together that the geometry just almost finishes itself, you know. With these little thin guys, you can get in under narrow spaces and try to finish closing all these guys up. All right. Cool. Look at this bad boy. Got our little guy here. Very cool. Actually, here, check this out. This is a piece of the factory floor's kind of floor. There's machines on this side, so we'll leave that alone. Put this guy here. So it fits nicely there. Oh, he's not quite laying flat, and this is what's good about tape and glue is that you want to actually make sure that this is usable on a table. So being able to do just that last final adjustment is quite important. So there we go. We got a nice little station platform, and perhaps here's the escort, for this important sort of magical giant tree being escorted by this big crocodile guy and this kind of dinosaur guy through the factory, past these very flat machines. But I'm going to make some papercraft of what these look like in 3 dimensions, which I think will be nice. And I have some smaller kind of computer machines, like 1940s computers, 1950s computers, that are papercraft, that would work for this if they were a slightly different scale. There's also some pallets on this particular piece of factory floor. I haven't trimmed the edge yet, but this is a geomorph, so it's 10 inches by 7 inches, and the whole rest of the factory floor pieces are the same size. And this 2 inches in on either side, and you can rotate it and you can match it edge to edge a whole bunch of different ways with a whole bunch of different kinds of with its kin, and so oh, I just have this cough. It's just developed today. It's not. I don't have a fever or any of the other symptoms, so I think this might just be allergies. Sorry for the noise level, though. Anyway, yeah. So this is the Trailside Platform. This is kind of a trailside that it can be a platform next to, and this guy can sit up here. Paper and tape surprisingly strong. You can really weigh this sucker down before it starts to bow. I don't know here. Like a big dragon. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a little bit of flexion down in this edge. The staircase is coming up, but right, that's like 2 fake ferns and a dragon. That's awesome. That's quite a lot of weight for just copy paper. Well, not copy paper. Cover paper. 60-pound cardstock. That's the stuff. Cool. So, what was that? We'll get this guy out. Just, for show. We made it. Where are we at? I'm back here. Cool. So, what time is it? Oh, wow. Okay. I've been streaming for a whole hour. That's the stream. We didn't even make it to these ferns. Let me assure you, these ferns, which copyright Bing apparently, though, fair use, guys. Well, I haven't done anything with them yet. They've just been kind of short so far. Anyway, yeah, look forward to these guys in the future. These ferns, and I have more of them actually. There's that's the civet cat. I got this guy, this guy, a lot. Fiddleheads is what I'm interested in drawing. These curly cues from when ferns are young, before they unravel. I'm going to make some papercraft with these ferns, and I'm going to make a papercraft that doesn't require very much cutting, which would be an interesting little feat. So look forward to that the next time I stream. I think the next time I stream, let me look. I gotta bring up my calendar. I will be streaming tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Until 9:30 p.m. Or so. Or no, that's not tomorrow night. That's Saturday night. I'll be streaming Saturday night. Though who knows? I might do like a random stream. Maybe I'll do some ferns. Maybe I'll work on some other stuff on Friday tomorrow. But definitely 8:30 Eastern Time Saturday night. I'll be back here. We'll hit these ferns up. We'll make them easy to cut out, easy to make, easy to put into your game. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Let's call this kind of like a warm-up to the fern factory. That's probably what I'll title this video once it's over. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know how many people were kind of watching this, but I don't care. This is to make sure that my butt is in my seat and I am moving my hand across the page and ink is flowing from the tools of my art. Thanks for joining me. If you found this to be a chill, helpful stream, please let me know. Leave a comment or, I don't know, live chat after the liveness is done. I have no idea what YouTube wants people to do these days to engage with, like, content. And I got the air quotes kind of behind the screen there. Let me see. Content. Engagement with content. Right. Anyway, if you made it all the way to this part of the video right here at the end, just comment with like the name of the little shipping containers that are in here. This is a Maersk Sealand container, and this other, the pink one that you can see earlier in the video, is a One Ocean Network Express. So yeah, just leave a comment that you noticed the containers, and then I'll know that someone actually made it all the way to the end here. See you guys Saturday. Thanks so much for hanging out, and if you guys are archivists in the future, I feel real good right now. My anxiety level's at a good place, and I think this was a success, and I feel like I drew a pretty cool civet and a pretty cool Zouyu, and I'm excited to keep drawing. So, yeah, that was the mind of the artist at the time of the recording. Had a lot of coffee today, too, so there's that. Anyway, I'm done. I'm going to end this recording now. So, bye, everybody. Thanks for sticking it out to the end. End of the recording club. Shout out. Connor in Pittsburgh signing off. Oh, I'm going to eat these cookies, too. I managed not to eat any of these cookies this whole stream. That was a real... I should have stopped and eaten a cookie. Bad on me.